everyone, my name is Chloe and welcome to the start of a weekend reading vlog. So this is the recommendation readathon vlog. It's like 1:30 on Friday. We're outside taking a walk because it's like 45 degrees, which if you watched last week's vlog, it was like 10 degrees and snowy, and now it's all melting and it's warmer. So we're outside. Ainsley is riding her bike and Annie is in like the big girl stroller for the first time. So I'm trying to keep her awake. So hopefully we'll see if it works. But this morning we just did some penguin crafts and some painting and like a puzzle thing where I made the shapes or the pieces of a penguin and she had to put them together based on a picture. So that was what we did this morning. But as far as reading goes, I started The Ones Who Got Away by Ronnie Lauren. And so far, I'm really liking it. The only complaint, so this book is about a bunch of people who were in a school shooting, and now it's like years later, and they're coming back together to do this like documentary or interview or something. And so there's an old romance that is coming back together. Now, my only complaint is that it's like 50% about the school shooting and like them as people, and 50% about like their physical attraction now. And it feels a little weird, but I'm not very far into it. So hopefully it will get really good. A lot of people have recommended this to me, so I'm hoping I really like it. But that is it. I will check in later. We have just kind of had a day, and then I am going to make a dinner and try to wrap birthday gifts and edit and work out. Like, I've got this list of things to do during nap time. So fingers crossed it actually happens, and fingers crossed you can hear me through the wind. Hey everyone, it is Saturday the 30th. It's like 3:30, and that means today is Ainsley's birthday. So she is 3 years old. So unfortunately, yesterday she got a case of the sniffles, and that makes 3 years in a row that she is sick on her birthday. And so that's a big bummer. But today we just got up and we had balloons and everything at her chair and a princess crown, and she's wearing a really sparkly shirt and a tutu. She's super excited about it. And so we did a birthday interview. We measured her for our wall chart, and we opened gifts. My sister came by. My grandma and stuff, we have decided not to let her come by today just because we don't want to pass any germs. So we'll have to see her at a later time. But it's just been the best day. Like, she's in here if you can hear her. But it's been the best day. It's so bittersweet. And in fact, it's like 3:30 right now. She was actually born at 3:50 something. And so like things were progressing at this point. And just as the mom, it's a really nostalgic day for me. So here at this point, she's so smart. She got a balance board or a wobble board. If you haven't seen them, they're super cool. I will maybe insert a picture or something, but they're like kids can stand, and it's good for balance, and it's like a surfboard. Like, it's really cool. And her own little leapfrog computer, and then some books. She's reading to some dolls and some books right now. So it's just been a great day. So tonight we made birthday cake, or Ainsley and I made birthday cake this afternoon. And so we're going to have birthday cake and omelets for dinner and just kind of lay low. So that is really the plan. So as far as reading goes, I finished The Ones Who Got Away by Ronnie Lauren. And this book has been recommended to me by so many people. This is a series of 4. And what I thought I was getting when I went into this book was a book about a school shooting. That is not what this is. This is a strictly like steamy romance with the backdrop of the fact that the reason they know each other is because they were both involved in a school shooting. So now they are back at the school for a documentary, and it's like instant sparks fly. So they were hanging out or whatever when it was at prom that the shooting happened. And so they were hanging out, and he left her to go save his date because that she was not his date. And so then he's like this hero because he saved a bunch of people, but there's like some guilt from him about leaving our main character live. Now it's like 12 years later, and she doesn't have any like hard feelings about it. She doesn't hold that against him. And I like that she was like kind of mature about that, but they both are having extreme PTSD. And yet in the midst of it, they're like having these extreme lust feelings. And for me, that's just not a thing. So I'm giving this 2 stars. I'm not going to continue in the series. I thought it was way too steamy for me. It just took me out of the book that they were so like focused on that the physical stuff when they're like talking about school shootings, and I don't know, it just took me out of it. I was not a huge fan, so I will not be continuing on. So instead, what I picked up is The Love Square, and this one is an arc that I have from NetGalley. So thank you to NetGalley and the publishers. It comes out February 9th, and so far I am loving it. I will tell you a little bit more about that later, but basically, it's about this chef who meets this other chef, and it's their relationship, but then they have to part ways. And so far, really good. And like I said, I'll tell you more about it later because we are going to go play and take her picture. I have taken a picture in the same spot for every month for her whole life. So we're going to take another picture, and then that'll be that. Hey everyone, it is Sunday. It's 2:45. The kids are asleep, so I'm going to try to be somewhat quiet so I don't wake them up. But if you guys saw yesterday, I went through all my February TBR books and put sticky notes on that door because Avery from Avery Love Books does like this sticky note thing where she like moves it from one wall to another or something, like her to-do list. And so I thought I would do that with my TBR because I'm doing Historathon and Black Authors Readathon, and I was just kind of feeling like overwhelmed because I have some of the books, I don't have some of the books, like, so I wanted to put them all there. Look at the floor, you guys. They don't stick. And so my 3-year old, she turned 3 yesterday, but my 3-year old told me when I was doing that, she said, Mom, that's not a good idea. I think it's because I always tell her don't put stickers on the wall. Not that we've ever tried that, but anyway, and so I think that's why, but I'm like, shoot, she was right. That is not a good idea. I think it's because the door's surface or something. Maybe I'll try it on the like edge of that bookshelf, maybe. I don't know. I'm not giving up on the idea, but I just walked in here and I was like, gosh darn it. But anyway, the rest of her birthday was really fun. We just kind of laid low. I don't know at what point I updated yesterday, but remember what point in the day I updated yesterday, but my sister came by, and that was about it. Like, otherwise, we just played with presents, and then I made birthday cake for her, and she was so excited about that. And so she had birthday cake for dinner, and that was all she ate for dinner, despite like having everything else. But when you're 3, I guess, and I made it pretty healthy, so I'm not really worried about it. But then we just played and hung out. And then today has been kind of just a typical Sunday where we're running around getting a lot of different things done. I made soup this morning because I just like the afternoons are so hard and I knew like that had to be done. So I've been trying to use my little like planner thing with the things that have to get done today versus the things that can wait. And then like within that, like prioritize and do it early. And soup, like the kids like it cold or room temperature, and Jeremy, I mean, you can warm it up, and me, you can warm it up. So I just thought let's get it done. And sometimes soup, like the longer it like melds together, the better. So made that. I also made brownies and a few other things. Like, I don't know, I didn't take like any video today because I've just been kind of like all over the place. So that is what we did this morning. You typically have gymnastics on Sundays, but we skipped it because the kids both have runny noses now, and so it's definitely a cold. So that's great. And like I have just been sleeping so terribly that I know my immune system's got to be junk, and so like I'm starting to feel nasally, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna get it. There is no way. So I think it's just a cold, no big deal, whatever. I don't know if I said anything about it, but Ainsley, when we went for a bike ride on Friday, maybe, she fell and like didn't put her arms down or something. Like, I don't know how, but her face hit the concrete. And so she gets up and she's like, I pick her up, she's crying and stuff, and she was like, that was a little scary. And I think like she was more just scared than hurt. And so then I'm looking at her and she's got like a bloody nose. And so I'm like wiping up the blood, whatever. And I think I have like the bloody nose stopped. And so we go and we're riding around more. She was not scared to get back on. So we were riding around more. And then a couple blocks later, I was like, hey, look at me. So I could see if like her nose had indeed stopped bleeding and there was blood. So I like stop and I'm like aggressively wiping, trying to get the blood because I thought it was like dried. because it was really windy and stuff. So I thought it was dried blood. And no, she like scraped all right here on her nose. And so I felt so bad because she's like not saying anything, just like wincing as I'm like aggressively rubbing her nose. And so she scraped her nose. And Friday is when she got the sniffles too. And I'm like, what an unfortunate time to scrape your face when you've got snot. And so, like, her nose is getting raw anyway from us blowing it all the time. And then it's got, oh, it's so terrible. I feel so bad for her. But she is a trooper. She last week like hit her head and trying to make pillows into lily pads, and she is just a bull in a china shop, like just 20 miles an hour all the time. Which now that I say 20, that's like really slow in a car, but for a kid, that is fast. I don't even know, you guys. Anyway, let's talk about books because that is why we're here. So I was reading The Love Square and I loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I just thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. And there are things that are done in this book that I feel like were done so well. So basically, the story is about our main character, Penny. Penny is a cancer survivor. She is a chef. She is a niece. She's got this uncle who is like kind of like a dad to her. And so she is really close with him. She lives in London and she's just kind of like trying to figure out how all these hats fit her, which one's right, what is she supposed to do, like just who she is really. She's 30 something, I think, and single. And she had some eggs frozen when she like had cancer to preserve her eggs, and she had them fertilized by a donor sperm. So she's got all these embryos, and so she's kind of thinking like maybe it's the time to have a baby, and just kind of commit to being single for now and have the baby that way. And she's just thinking about all those things. So she is really just like reevaluating her life. So then this guy comes into her restaurant and they have like an instant connection. It is not insta love, it's just definitely instant interest. And so I really enjoy that. I don't like insta love at all, but I felt like, again, this was done really well. And so they have this like attraction or whatever. And then her uncle lives in the country. And so something happens where she has to go to the country for a year. And so she, like, instead of being vulnerable and stuff with him and saying, like, hey, will you come with me? She just breaks it off and goes to the country. So while she's there, she meets two other guys that are both like known to be temporary, and she's very like upfront with them. And so then the first guy comes to the country, and so then she finds herself in a love square with these three guys all kind of fighting over her. And I loved it because she is very like upfront with them, in my opinion. She's not super like hot and heavy with any of them. So this is definitely not full of smut or anything. In fact, it's all fade to black and it's not overly physical. And I just really enjoyed our main character. And I thought that the infertility stuff was done so well because it doesn't go into depth about it, but what it does say about it is pretty true to life from what I understand. And also I just liked like it wasn't like, okay, she gets her happily ever after and oops, they get pregnant, because she may or may not be infertile and sterile from the cancer treatments. And so it wasn't an oops, she got pregnant. It was babies by atypical ways. And it just was a family that looks a little bit different. And I loved that. She also is very, very close to her sister. And I love sister relationships, of course. I thought the relationship with her uncle was so sweet. And I really, really, really enjoyed this book. And it has great LGBTQIA plus rep because her uncle is in a married relationship with a man. Her sister, I don't know if she's married or not, but she is in a relationship with a woman. And those things are not talked about as if they're odd. That just is what it is. And I loved it. And so I really, really enjoyed this book. Gave it 4.5 stars. Also, I think I posted about it because Krista from Books and Jams was having a cozy read-in last night. And so I posted that I was reading that for her cozy read-in. And the author wrote me back on Instagram, which I have like no followers on Instagram. And so I'm like nobody. And her and I have been in like chats today. And she is just so kind and like so grateful for positive words about her book. And I think she's only written 2 or 3 things, but long story short, this book was published in 2000, and then now it's being republished in 2021, February 9th, I think. And so definitely check it out. If you have not heard of it, definitely check it out. And the premise is such that it could be really bad or really good. And for me, I really enjoyed it. So that's my thoughts on that. So next I picked, which means like I have kind of lost sight of the recommendation readathon. I did the ones who got away, and then I was so like salty about that I picked up that arc because I knew that I had to get it done, and like I don't want to read it in February because she's not a Black author, and I really want to focus on Black authors or historical, and so I didn't want to pick, like I wanted to get that done. And then afterwards, I saw that on NetGalley, The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins was on audio, and I got a copy. And so I like have been hearing so much about this book. I haven't really heard it recommended. I've just heard a lot of people hauling it because it was a book of the month book. It came out in January. So far is so good. And so this one is, I think, like supposed to be like a loosely based on Jane Eyre, but it's been so long since I read Jane Eyre, I don't actually know that. But it's about this girl. She is named Jane. She is a dog walker, and she is like dog walking in this like really prestigious community full of like Stepford wives and these polo wearing men and that kind of thing. And so she runs into this guy named Eddie, and Eddie and her like instantly have like an attraction, a thing kind of situation. And so Eddie's wife is missing. Her best friend was found dead, drowned, I think, and his wife is missing. And so we're really trying to figure out what happened to his wife. But then Jane, our main character, is definitely unreliable. And she's like kind of a kleptomaniac. She talks about like how she is not actually Jane. So she's definitely got a past that she's hiding. And you guys, I just love domestic thrillers, and I am really, really enjoying this book. I'm only like a third of the way through, but I am loving it so far. So I think I'm going to have to close this vlog out here though. So you will have to tune in to the next one to find out what my final thoughts are on it, because I'm going to film my in and out, and then I'm going to go down to our little schoolroom and switch everything because P week is over. We're on to M week. So I need to switch everything out. And so I know I'll finish that book because it's on audio. So I will put in an earphone while I'm doing all the schoolroom switcheroo. And then I will stay up tonight to finish it because I have to know what's going on. So, I'll definitely finish it in January, so then I'll be ready to start fresh in February. But I probably won't update this because I would like for this to go up. Maybe I will, because I would like for this to go up Tuesday. So I guess I'll just pop on tomorrow and let you know my final thoughts on The Wife Upstairs. I think that's what I'll do. So I'll forget that I'm closing this out. I will talk to you tomorrow and let you know my final thoughts. Hey everyone, it is Monday, and so I finished The Wife Upstairs, and I'm gonna give it probably 3.5 stars. Like with thrillers, I'm really glad I didn't like predict anything as far as a star rating because it totally depends on the ending, and this one was fine. But it was just fine. Like I really wanted an additional twist or something to kind of come out of the woodwork, but you like get the wrap up somewhat early, and like I was wanting something else to happen and it just didn't. So overall it was good. Probably a 3.5 stars. I won't remember it forever, but it was entertaining nonetheless. And maybe if you were a lover of Jane Eyre, you would love this more than I did, but 3.5 stars. It was good. Not gonna be a favorite, but pretty good. So that is the end of the recommendation readathon. Thank you for watching, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you in the next one.